Step into the Fieldhouse, your front row seat to legendary victories and untold stories. Hey, I'm your host, Lance Lunner, breaking down sports from the inside out, along with co-host Jimmy Lackey. It's more than just a game. It's the Fieldhouse Podcast. Hey, welcome into the Fieldhouse Podcast. We're a production of the Kids Inc. Sports Network. I'm one of your co-hosts, Lance Lunner. We have co-host Jimmy Lackey here today, and then we have a very, very special day today. We have Eric Mims in the house. Quick background on Eric. He's been in here before, but grew up in Amarillo. He played his high school ball at Palo, Duro, graduated in 2000, played his college ball at Eastern New Mexico. We got to ask him about Art Briles, what he thinks about Art taking over his alma mater there. But then he was an assistant at Palo Duro, spent 9 years in the Metroplex, coached in the state championship game with Duncanville, and then 6 years ago he made Amarillo AISD history, becoming the first African-American head football coach ever in the city of Amarillo. His Dons have been on a roll last couple of years, 10-2 last season. First outright district title, I think it's since 2004, Eric. And then this year, Dave Campbell's has you picked to be repeat winners of that district. He's got 5 starters back officially on both sides. They open the season August 29th against Amarillo High. So let's welcome into the Fieldhouse Podcast. Back again. You've been here once before, and we appreciate you. Eric Mims. Eric, you know the question of the day. What's the best thing that happened to Eric Mims today?
Best thing that's happened to me today was I woke up again. I was on God's wake-up list, so got to see another day, and I'm excited about that.
I'm stealing that. What do you think, Jimmy? I'm on
good
God's wake-up list today.
Yeah,
Yes,
I like that a lot.
sir.
Yeah. So, Jimmy, what's the best thing that happened to you today?
I got to go brag about you. Lance, I think we said this on our podcast last week. We nominated Lance. National Philanthropy Day will be in November, and I was shocked. He had never won Outstanding Media Personality. And so Kids Inc. nominated him, and he won it this year. So they were doing all the video that'll be presented at the event in November. So, Coach, full transparency, and Lance can vouch for me here. I wore my suit today because that's what I do when I go do those things. And I almost stayed in it because I had that powder blue
Yeah, I did.
tie on.
You had the Don
And I
look.
thought, man, Coach is going to be here. But I've been dreading putting that coat and tie on because it's 100 degrees.
It
And I
is.
wanted out of it as fast as I could get in it. So as soon as I got back to the office, I was out of that suit.
I understand.
So my apologies, but I'm still wearing some blue, but it's not the powder blue. It looked good. The powder blue tie
Yeah, you
looked
did
good
look
for
You-
PD
yeah,
today.
yeah. I appreciate you
sir.
doing that, too.
Yeah.
Eric, they're just desperate. You know, I'm an old dude. So
no, you've
the-
done a great
Eric
job
knows.
Yeah, yeah.
down through the years.
Eric
Yeah,
knows.
over the years. Yeah. So, hey, that's pretty cool. Eric, I was curious though. Let's start with number 83. This is our 83rd podcast. Real quick, we have a tradition here, Eric, as you well know. We honor a player maybe we played with, a guy we liked, somebody like that. So. We're getting up there in numbers, you know what I mean? We're gonna
The girls
start
asked me
back-
the other day, what are we going to do when we get to
I think
100?
we go 1A or whatever. You know, we can't repeat. But anyway, Eric, did you have a number 83 that you were fond of or makes memories for you?
Initially, I didn't. Then I got to thinking about 83, and I see this jersey that's hanging inside of our training room. Ziggy Hood was number 83 at Palo Duro, and it's since been retired, of course. So my favorite 83 would be Ziggy Hood. Great guy. You know, he's humble enough to be back in Amarillo, coaching at Palo Duro High School.
Yeah.
Has had opportunities to coach college. I'm sure he could do some professional training. But really humble guy. You've got to pull his teeth to talk about his NFL career. Just wants to serve kids, serve people. So my favorite 83 is going to be none other than Evander Ziggy Hood.
I love that one. And next to it, isn't Willie T up there too, number 20?
Yes, it is.
He was
It's
20,
up
I
there,
think,
number
as a
20,
Don.
uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I got to ask you real quick. Speaking of Ziggy, you see him day to day. What is his strength? I know he has the, like the cred, as you want to say it, with the NFL and all that. Played at Missouri, this great athlete. But what is it with the kids that he's able to get them to play the way he does?
I think Ziggy's strength is his passion.
Really? Okay.
We are our early morning program. We're practicing before school. We're arriving at 5:45, and he's already been to the gym. He's already lifted for an hour or two, and he comes in every morning and he brings the juice. There's never a morning that we come to football and he's flat or dead. He's energetic. He's passionate.
Wow.
He's ready to go every single day. And so, I appreciate that. The kids catch charge from him. He comes in and he's the thermometer, not the thermostat. He's going to set the atmosphere with his energy. And by the way, he just attacks the morning work. So he brings that to the table, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I remember I put football gear on that kid.
Yeah,
and I can call him a kid.
Gear. Yeah.
And the blue and gold Eastridge jerseys that they wore, and his dad was back the day coaching. I mean, I remember when he was young, and but you're right. It's like pulling hind teeth to get him to say anything because he is very, very humble, and he's such a big guy. Golly, those shoulders when he walks in, my Lanta.
Yeah.
Just massive.
What are the kids called? Hood's Hood or whatever. They've got a nice little nickname. I kind of like that. You know what I mean? The group
sir.
Working out. I saw on social media. Pretty cool. Hey, who's your 83?
Golden Richards.
Golden Richards. Wow.
Old school there.
You remember him at all?
School. I don't.
He's a wide receiver for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, Golden Richards had golden
blonde
hair.
like Ric Flair hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was out the helmet. You know what I mean? It was flowing.
Yeah, I was
You'll have
wondering
to
if
check him
Landry
out.
really much cared for that, but I don't know.
Landry, yeah.
Probably didn't. much.
Well, I mean, I obviously being a Broncos fan, but Ted Hendricks, they called him the Stork. He was a linebacker for the Oakland Raiders, number 83. But Eric, he was looked more basketball player than football player. You know what I mean? But kind of a dominant guy there. That had the whole Raider mystique about
He's
him.
the face in the book.
Andre Reed, we got to mention him.
Oh man, yeah.
83
Lost
for the-
4 Super Bowls,
man.
but played in 4 consecutive for the Buffalo Bills. He was kind of their go-to wide receiver.
Yeah.
Have you seen that 30 for 30 on that the Buffalo Bills, the 4
I haven't
seasons?
seen that
It's
one.
I
outstanding.
think I've seen it a couple
It's
years
outstanding.
ago. Yeah.
Mar Levy and the whole group. It's a really, really good story. And Jim Kelly and everything
Yeah,
that
what
happened to
could
him.
have been, huh?
Yeah.
Very talented team.
Yeah.
Jim Kelly was the quarterback all those years. So real quick, my Jim Kelly. You want a quick Jim Kelly story?
Yeah.
And this is being the idiot that I can be at times, Eric. But I was honored to be at Zach Thomas's party for the Hall of Fame. He invited me to his after party. So you're walking in there. There's Dan Marino. There's all these cats. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing in this room? But anyway, Kelly's in there and it's loud. They got Miami. They got some band from Miami pumping it out. You know what I mean? So I walk up to him and say, hey, he's going through all that cancer and all that, and he looked pretty good. I said, hey, just congratulations on, battling so hard. And he goes, and it's loud in there, and he goes, he thought I said, where's the bathroom? So he goes, the bathroom is that away. So I just got out of his way. I didn't talk to any superstars after that. The bathroom's that away. So we got out of there. But
You're special, Lance. That's what he's thinking. He's special.
no, he's thinking, get this guy away from me, Zach Thomas. I thought it was going to be a real
That's
thing.
classic.
So yeah. Yeah. No, I was like, oh my God. I didn't talk to anybody else after that. You know what I mean? Hey, Eric, obviously the Dons have your stamp on it now with this many years on it, and your staff. I know you always give them credit as well. But I just wanted to start off, Jimmy. What are you most proud of as you look from day one, coming on the scene, and then how the program is now? What are you most pleased with or proud of with where the Dons are out right now?
I think I would just say the work ethic. That was the biggest thing that we wanted to bring in was how to work. I thought that Palo Duro would never be second-rate talent, but we had to learn how to work, and we had to learn how to grind, and we had to learn discipline and dedication. And so our kids work really hard. We have high demands on them, and the amount of days we work, the time we work, our expectations. And so from the first year when we got there, kids have worked hard, regardless of what our record was when we started to now. The work ethic hadn't changed. Some of the talent level has improved, but kids have bought into let's go to work, and they believe from the minute I stepped on campus selling my vision and what I thought we could be. Kids have worked hard, and they trust in what I'm selling, and they trust my vision for the program.
And you talked about the morning practices, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. At first, it wasn't like that,
no,
right?
we just changed it last year.
Just last year.
Mm-hmm.
What was the impact of that, and what was the philosophy behind it?
So it was
because nobody likes to get up too early.
No, it was kind of we were kind of split as a staff. Should we do it or not? AISD added lights to our football fields for the first time in AISD history. So we get these lights, and one of my best friends, Ray Gates, was the head coach down at North Crowley, and they practice morning. There's a couple of different programs down in the Metroplex and in Austin, Houston. They have first period athletics, and they practice in the mornings. And so at PD, the girls have always had first period athletics since back to the 90s. Well, we get the lights, and I go, man, I think I'm going to move athletics to first period, and I'm going to start having the boys come up at 5:30 a.m. and asked the coaches, and a couple of them said, Coach, some mornings we struggle getting the kids here when we do 7 a.m. workouts, and asked different personnel what they thought and different community people, and, ended up landing on if they want to play, they'll be here. And so last year we got the lights. We went to morning practices. We reported many mornings at 5:30 a.m., and we were practicing under the lights, and I'm not a morning person at all. There were many mornings I said, whose idea was this? And then looked in the mirror. But it ended up being really good for us. I thought, the different people that I talked to about what the benefits of going to morning practice were, I ended up seeing all of those benefits that we discussed.
What are a couple of the benefits? Your
players will be fresher come game time. Talked about they're not sun beat. And so I said, well, what about heat acclimation? And they all said, that's not a real thing. It's going to be 7 o'clock at night, and it's going to be game time. Your kids' adrenaline will carry them through a game. Say your kids didn't cramp up. Your kids weren't tired. They said, no. If you practice hard and you put them in a game, they'll be ready to play. Talked about the extra 12 hours of rest from Thursday, not having to practice Thursday afternoon. You get them off their feet Thursday morning, and now they have more recovery time. Talked about not losing weight during the hot seasons because they're outside sweating and dehydrating. So a lot of the morning stuff.
Yeah.
The thing that made me the proudest was having a random conversation with a random parent. And she says, well, Coach, if you hadn't taught these boys anything, you've taught them to get up early in the morning and go to work. And that'll carry them through the rest of their lives. And I said, well, there it is. We're training boys to get up early in the morning and go work.
Wow.
So
I love that.
Hope our boys turn to men who get up every day and go to work.
Yeah. You saw the results, won 10 games, but I was just curious about that. I have one more, and then, Jimmy, you can ask Coach Mims something. But so in the afternoon, what changes? I mean, do they still have to have a quick workout? What, you let them go completely in the afternoon, or what works?
Yeah, so practice in the morning. Our freshmen are practicing after school. So they'll still go outside for about an hour to an hour and a half and get their workout in. Our varsity and JV do report after school, so now that's our meeting time, our weightlifting time, and our film time. So it was really beneficial. We got to emphasize more weights where we catch them coming off the field, and they've been on the field for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Now we say, let's go lift. Well, now they come in after school, and we get a good quality lift in, which I thought was very beneficial for us as well.
Yeah.
I thought we stayed extremely healthy. I thought we were stronger throughout the season. We didn't have necessarily a cap on how much film we could watch. So we set things up after school where we had film and we had weights, and we told the kids and their parents, look, this will be the time we dismiss them every day. Some of our kids work. So, set your work schedule for this, but we're going to be coming every day after school, and we got in and got it done.
I think that's great, and I think the coaches too kind of like the evenings off a little bit.
Yeah, what it really helped us with was being able to see some of our junior high games, because when we practice in the afternoon and those games start at 4:45, we didn't get to see our middle schools play. So now when we kick those practices to morning, we can go and see Horseman, we can go see Travis, we can go see our future players and get to see our middle school coaches. And loved it.
I'm just saying, when you're a middle school kid and the head coach is watching, it's pretty special.
Yes, sir.
You know
yes,
what
sir.
I mean? Like, there he is.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. My dad was a coach, and the high school coaches were at junior high practices, and that's what you call grooming your program. And if you're not showing up and being there, they don't know who you are, and more times than not, by the time they get to high school, you're gone, because that turnover rate. The difference, Coach, in what I've seen, and I'm an outsider looking in, is the community you built. And that's important to me, is to see the community. I grew up in Dumas. Tremendous community in terms of support for the school system, and bringing that back into Palo Duro that had a void. Let's just be honest, there had been a void. From Coach James to, I'll say, till the time you got there, there's been a void of consistency anyway. I remember when Emmett Smith came here to visit one time, we had him in the building. He was playing in a golf tournament over here at Comanche, and he needed a place to come eat. And we said that we told him, bring him over here, we'll bring him the back door. We were checking out football gear that day. And so I just asked him, I said, would you go down and see the kids? He goes, absolutely, because Jimmy, they're not going to know who I am. Because none of these kids in that room are going to have a clue who I am. The parents did. I brought him in to talk to the parents, and they went nuts. But he was right. The kids didn't know who he was. I suspect that's probably a little bit true with Ziggy. There's probably a lot of your kids now that never saw Ziggy play. They're getting to that age where that time has passed, if you will, for him. But they know who he is. And the other thing, they know both of y'all, where both of y'all went to school. And, man, I'm telling you, that community side of things is about the only way you can bring that back to the fold when it's been gone. And the community side of what you've been able to do, and the buy-in, and I'm going to use that term as the key, the buy-in that you've created in the Palo Duro area is probably second to none around here right now. Coach Dipple had that for so long, and Coach Plunk's done a good job with that. But the buy-in is critical at any one of those communities. Look at West Plains. Canyon's not necessarily the fair-haired child anymore, because Canyon ISD alone is having to learn how to be a big school district. They got 3 high schools now, and you're having to build those communities. West Plains has built a great community. Yeah. Bushland's built a great community. If you don't have that, it's hard to have the buy-in from the kids. And I think that's what you've brought to the table from an outsider's perspective, and that's probably the thing I respect the most, is the fact that you've reminded them that we're important too. This community is important. We're part of a bigger community in Amarillo, and you've shown that and displayed that around town as well. But day in and day out, you're Palo Duro's community, and I have a lot of respect for the fact that that's back. Again, I'm old. I go back to the Coach James days, and and Dad and them coached, and boy, they were good every year. We never played them in district. We always just played a scrimmage against Palo Duro because they were 5A or 4A, whatever it were back then, the biggest, and we were one below. But they were always good. They were always good. And
Coach Parr had a couple good teams.
And
too.
then Coach Parr, other than Coach Parr though, there's been a
I
hole.
agree with you. The vibe is just a compliment.
But Coach Parr wasn't from there.
Yeah, no.
And
I get it.
And I'm just saying, you and Ziggy and that group of people out there, that group of kids needs to know that somebody of their own can do what you're doing. That getting up in the morning and teaching them to go to work, that's important. But for them to see somebody that he walked these halls, he did this, he went to Dallas, and he chose to come back here.
Yeah.
You didn't have to choose to come back to Amarillo, but you did. And
the vibe is real.
I think
so. The community support has been there since day one. Even when it was slow getting off the ground, I was telling my OC, just yesterday. We were on the runway a lot longer than we anticipated. We finally got off the ground, and so
I like that.
the community has been great. I think my parents really set the stage for this. With my dad being a class of '72 PD grad, he was Mr. Palo. He's in the Palo Hall of Fame. Dad had a funeral home on the north side, still on Hughes Street. Dad had a church in Hamlet. We still have the church. Mom was the first girls track coach at Palo Duro in 1974. She currently owns the business now that my dad established and runs our church over in Hamlet. And so the name Mims kind of has just been in the north side so long. And because of who they are and how respected my parents were, people support. And then with the success that I was able to be a part of in the Metroplex, the North Side wants to win. We always say North Side pride through the good and the bad, but when we're winning in football, it just has a different feel to it. And so,
Well, I came here in '95 coaching. Your mom was probably coaching you in track back then here. But I remember her being a coach for us in our track program.
She's awesome.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I interviewed her many times as a track coach. So yeah,
you get old like us, and you have a little different perspective about things. And
Eric's
I just appreciate the fact that somebody came home that walked those halls and is leading those kids. No disrespect to Coach Parr, no disrespect to Coach James or anybody else in between. I'm just saying, man, when it's one of your own, that just makes their chest stick out a little farther.
You got to do me one favor. Special. One game you got to bring. I know everybody likes the big blow-ups and you run out of the tunnel, but do you remember the sign, you guys? It was just a simple sign, North Side Pride. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
And you just tapped it and walked through it. And
so that brings back. I'm telling you, Lance. I've been telling you this since I came back.
Yeah.
Nobody will play me on a Saturday game, but I remember
Eric and I are on this one together, big time.
Kid, and I'm from Hamlet, so coming down Mirror, and you go over the bridge to get to Third. The cheerleaders would have balloons tied on all of the poles.
Wow.
There would be balloons like escorting you to the stadium. The boys would come down that ramp and they would have the paper and they would have the white and blue with just a few red balloons, and they would run out of through the run-through paper, and they poke the holes, and they release the balloons. Man, woo! There was nothing like those Saturday 1 o'clock games. I would love to play a Saturday.
No one will play you though, huh?
I tried to get homecoming. My homecoming was on a Saturday. I still remember high school. My cousin was getting married after, so I played in my homecoming game, and then I went and was in his wedding immediately following. So, nope, people don't play. They rather do Thursday. And I'm
Saturday
like, come
afternoon.
on, let's get a Saturday afternoon game. And
nothing like it.
Hadn't been able to get one.
PD Plainview, PD Amarillo High.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, that place was rocking. So, yeah. Hey, I had one for Eric here. Coming off the 10-win season, the district championship, do you see momentum for this season from last season, or are you one of those guys that say, hey, we got to move on, it was nice, we did a great job, or do you try to grab that momentum, or is it just totally different team?
Yeah, combination of both, because the kids are going to remember last season. And as much as we talked about, well, we had the banquet, the season's over, we got to move on, and it's a new year, and everything is new, and we're the benefit of last season is the kids know they can be successful, but it can be your kryptonite too. So while we're wanting to build continually and take another step from last year, we can't forget it did happen, and the kids will never forget it.
Yeah.
So we kind of toy between the two. Because like you said, Dave Campbell's has us ranked now, and our kids read all the articles, and they know all of the stuff, and they're on Instagram, and they see all of this and that. And, our job is to just keep them humble and keep them working and keep them focused through it all.
I'll tell you a funny story. You ought to tell your kids this. So my son-in-law, his mother was on Joe Lombard's first team in Nazareth, Texas.
Okay.
And they'd won state she's a senior that year. And they'd won state 2 years in a row. And this shoe salesman from Cleveland Athletics has been named the basketball coach in Nazareth, Texas. And they're like, who is this guy? He was selling shoes. We bought shoes from him in Plainview. They go to play Hartley, first game. Boys and girls are on the bus. And Hartley beats those girls by about 40.
Wow.
Boys play their game. They win. They come out. Everybody's getting on the bus. And Coach Lombard says, hang on just a minute. Gentlemen, y'all get on first. Take a seat at the back. Everybody get a seat to yourselves. Get comfortable for the ride home. Ladies, you'll sit 3 to a seat. And then they practiced for 2 hours when they got home. And that's when they knew there was a new sheriff in town. And they played Hartley in by district or whatever and beat them by 50 and went on to win a third state championship in a row. But he had to set the tone of who the sheriff was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because to them that first year, he was just a shoe salesman.
That's pretty interesting.
Don't forget, kids, that you had a good team, but you got to make your own. You got to make your own life, and you get one shot at it.
That's it.
Especially the seniors, they get one shot at it.
Yep.
So
We've
tell
got
us
the
about
target on our backs now.
Yeah.
We were hunting, and now
you're the
hunting.
hunter.
We're the ranked team.
Yeah,
now.
you got the target, and it's a big target, especially with Kyron, committing to Texas, and then Deuce has he decided yet, or Wake
We're gonna
Forest?
make an announcement. Believe the Amarillo High game.
Oh, nice.
Sometime around that week.
That's cool. Yeah, I know Wake is one of the teams that's looking at him, but I was going to ask you when you're last year, you sent a couple. We were talking about it off the air that you got a couple guys at UNLV, great players there. Vern's one of my favorite players of all time. Just chatting with him, I admire what he does on the field, but just as a guy, I love talking with Vern.
Great kid.
Yeah. But what does that mean for your program to get these guys to the next level? How important is that as part of the program?
Yeah, it's really cool because we asked these guys, I talked about the work ethic, we asked these guys to be here 300 days a year and to work hard and lift weights and to run, and they get yelled at, screamed at, criticized, corrected. They get all of this input from us as coaches. And so to see them get to go play at the next level is really cool, to see that all of that wasn't in vain. All of the work that they put in, all of the hours that they put in, all of, those different things. And we tell them, some of it is about your height and your size and different things, because we've got guys that I think should be more highly recruited than they were, but their God-given size and height and didn't necessarily fit the eye candy and the metric that the colleges are looking for. So to see kids go Division I is great, but we get excited about them going D2, AIA, junior college. I was just on the phone before we went on air. One of our kids won the Don Forever Scholarship a couple of years ago, and he's in dental hygiene school. So we just get excited to see kids go on and be successful in life. And we'd love for it to be football, but, when they're sending me wedding invitations and they're tagging me on Facebook and Instagram, Coach, look at my family and look at what I've become, that makes us proud that we had a part to play in the mentorship and their development and them becoming men. These are just going to be memories in a small chapter of their life, and we hope that we're establishing some lifelong habits and principles and standards for them, and then want to go see them be successful in whatever it is that they do.
Yeah, that community.
Coaching wasn't on your radar screen when you went to college.
Nope. I didn't want to teach or coach at all.
Is that right? I did not know that. What'd you want to do?
I initially, coming out of high school, I was in broadcast journalism, and in the 90s, I was a Sports Center junkie.
Okay.
So Stuart Scott was my role model, and I wanted to be the next Stuart Scott. I wanted to booyah. I wanted to do all of the great punchlines and cover sports. And I got to college and I was in broadcast journalism at Eastern New Mexico. They have a really great broadcast journalism school. And I've always wanted to be a family man like my dad. And so I was sitting there one day, man, 10 o'clock news comes on at night. I won't be able to tuck my kids in, won't be able to, there's certain things that I wouldn't be able to do as a dad working the night shift. So I said, not going to do that. Changed my major several times. But my mom had already told me I was going to be a coach. And I said, watching her grade papers and watching her with the pay and all of that stuff, I was like, no, never going to be a teacher. And I was sitting in a biology class because I had changed my major to physical therapy. I was going to be a physical therapist. I hate science. And I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and coach. And my mom was like, well, I told you that 2 years ago. So,
and the world's a better place for it.
It really is.
God
Sometimes that God pushes you.
Yeah.
Sometimes the road is, get over there, Eric.
Yes, sir.
Stay
That's
out
how
of
it
this.
happened.
Hey, you're right about the hours. Newspaper, 38 years, 3 to midnight was our shift. You know what I mean? So it's not healthy for marriages all the time. So, hey, I got it.
Neither is coaching.
Yeah, coaching's more hours. You guys were there in the AM.
I was
too,
the coach's husband once.
yeah. I love that. Hey, real quick, speaking of that, Art Briles, we kind of mentioned it. What's your thought? I mean, here's a huge name in the coaching world. Obviously, we know the missteps or whatever you want to call them that his program at Baylor went through, and it's kind of been shunned and blackballed from really another big-time Division I job. But what's your thought of Art going over to Eastern New Mexico?
Yeah, it's giving him a second chance to establish credibility and right some wrongs from past. And, I think that it has definitely brought a buzz to Portales. And in the Lone Star, Portales is an extremely small town, and really the only things there is the peanut factory and in sports. So I think the buzz is always needed for any type of sport. You talk about the communities and you talk about the hype. That's what that brings. Obviously, we know he's been a really, really good football coach. His records indicate that. His staff came and did some recruiting and, talked about his vision and philosophy for what he's going to do at Eastern. So, definitely wish him the best being a Eastern
being a Hound. Yeah.
I want to see those guys be successful, and I think that he's going to bring a lot of attention to Portales because of his name and what he's accomplished in the past.
Yeah, and I had him on my radio show, and I was going to say it was really interesting. Here's a guy who's accomplished a lot, but he said he was in the stands watching his son and his son-in-law, is a famous coach as well. And he said, I want to be on the sideline, so I'm going to do whatever it takes. And if that's Portales, New Mexico right now, that's what I'm going to do. So,
well, him and the AD had a pass. They had a relationship.
At Houston. Okay. At Houston, yeah.
But,
somewhere,
I listened. They had the media day for the Lone Star Conference the other day, and I listened to some of his comments. He's very humble, grateful to be back in the business. I don't know what happened at Baylor. I don't know how much of it was his fault and how much of it just happens. When you're at a big-time school like that, you're going to take the fall.
Yes, sir.
But I remember the days when he was at Stephenville High School.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
They were a powerhouse.
Yeah, for sure.
And then he goes to Tech and as an assistant. And to this day, the best football game I ever saw in person, my dad and I got to see this together, was at Kimbrough Stadium when Kendall was playing, and they played the Hodges boys from Hereford. And that was an unbelievable football game.
Friendship and Hereford,
and Hereford. Yeah. Unbelievable football game.
Yeah, that was a great one, yeah.
I was impressed with his comments from the media day the other day, and other than when they play WT, I got no problem with them winning.
1984 is how old I am, Eric. And Jimmy, he coached the Hamlin Pied Pipers versus the Panhandle Panthers, okay?
Okay.
It's like a regional final game. This is the greatest quarter. This is one of the greatest games I've ever covered in my life. Hamlin punts the ball. This is penetration days. 20-yard penetrations inside the game. It's tied 7-7, tied on penetrations. Hamlin punts the ball away to Panhandle on the final play of the third quarter, about the 2-yard line. Panhandle holds the ball all 12 minutes, crosses the 20, doesn't even score, and wins the game on penetration 7-7. So if you look at his history, Bryles, and this is a true story. Like, I did a 20-year anniversary on that game. He was coaching at the University of Houston. Called him on a Wednesday. I'm like, hey, this is the week. You know what I mean? Called his secretary. Goes, oh, he's done with media this week. I said, put on his desk Hamlin Panhandle 1984. He calls me back in about 5 minutes. I was young and dumb. I should have let him score. But that, they held the ball all 12 minutes. Stocky Lamberson was the coach of the Panthers that time, and Chris Ketting was a wide receiver for that team, a little running back. But yeah, so I've talked to Bryles about that. But I think everybody deserves a second chance. I don't know about you guys, but that I'll just leave it at that. We'll see what happens. Yes, but I do see a humble man. I do see a humbled man, which that wasn't always the case with Art. You know what I mean? If you go to his history. But anyway, Eric, what about your team as we get going here this year? What do you like about the Dons for this upcoming? Obviously, you got Deuce Reese back at quarterback for his third year. We talked Kyron Brown. University of Texas doesn't sign anybody, you know, and he's an impact player on both sides of the ball for you as maybe the premier rush defensive end we have in the 806 for sure, and parts of Texas as well, and then also a great wide receiver. But I know you got more than two guys or you're not going to win districts and make playoff runs. So what about the Dons?
Man, like you said, we're not void of talent. I think we are an extremely talented team. I think the key is going to be us being disciplined and us developing into a great team. And then we always talk about dominating the details. I think that's going to be the key for us. Offensively, you know, it's going to start up front. We only bring back one offensive starter, and we're going to bring in 4 guys that don't have a ton of playing experience. Most of our returning talent offensively is at wide receiver, quarterback, running back, and those guys have proven to be pretty good and played state 7-on-7 and beat some teams that have been really impressive.
Raymond Johnson, number 0, one of those running backs, obviously.
Running back is expect him to have a very big year for us.
Yeah, I love that kid, yeah.
I think he's the best back in the area. You know, we're an air raid system, so we don't hand it to him 25 times a game. He split carries last year, had a high ankle sprain last year. But I expect him to be a 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard receiver in the Damian Tomlinson mode, Marshall Faulk type guy who can run it, who can catch it, who can play all 3 downs.
And he's flat out fast.
I mean, he can play. And so expect to have a bigger offensive line than we've had in the past. You know, we've gotten a little stronger. We've gotten a little more size under our belts this year than we have in the past. The receiving core is pretty good. Kyron Brown is the big name. My son, Eric Mims Jr., is going to be beside him. Expect him to have a really good season. Arturo Velasquez and T-Bird, Tavon Kentley are on the other side at receiver. Both of those guys are phenomenal athletes. You know, when we flip over to the defense, we graduated K.J. Barnes, who 2 years ago had 170-plus tackles. Last year had 150-plus tackles. I think he's under-recruited, but he's a smaller stature guy down at Cisco College and hopes that he just balls out there and somebody gives him a shot at the Division I level. But our linebackers are going to be really good and can run. Our defensive line is strong and athletic as they've ever been, and we've had some pretty good defensive lines, but Kimari Rayford up front is Division I kid. Bentley Smith, I believe, is going to be another Division I kid up front. Then we've got a couple of other interior D linemen that are extremely athletic and get off the ball well. Our secondary is where we graduated, you know, the UNLV guys. We bring back McCoy Sims, who's going to be a very quality lockdown corner. Had a good season last year, had really good camps this year. At safety, you know, we bring back Noah Ferragosa, who is a stud. I'm really excited about Noah and his ability. We've got a couple of younger guys in the secondary as well who are very talented, and so we're excited. I think we just have a group of kids that need to be challenged daily, need to be held accountable, need to be pushed, and that's going to be our coaching staff's job. And we need to line up and play our best football every single time. Every single time that we get an opportunity to play under the Friday night lights, Thursday night lights, we need to go play well. And I think if we do, we could have a decent season.
Jimmy and I are both coaches' kids, so what has it been like to coach Eric Mims Jr.?
It's been really cool, man. You know, my 2 older children didn't play here in Amarillo, so I coached my son in a state championship at Duncanville, which was
in Jerry's world,
really
by the way.
Yeah,
so
that was really cool. My oldest daughter won a state championship at Duncanville in basketball. You know, my middle daughter is playing Division I volleyball, and then we get to EJ. So, you know, EJ being the 4th child didn't have as much athletic experience as a younger kid. You know, he wasn't necessarily as interested in sports as a teeny Todd, and big brother was really athletic, and sisters were, and you know, so he went to a lot of practices and just to see his growth, you know, from when we got here to now with that group that he plays with. He was one of the smaller kids, one of the more unathletic kids, and in high school he's gained 60 pounds.
Wow.
And he's gotten so much stronger, so much faster over the last 4 years that just watching his journey has just been, you know, everybody's going to say, well, he's the coach's kid. Of course y'all are going to give him the ball. Or of course, no. The people who've watched know that kid didn't start out one of the better kids. He was kind of, you know, middle of the pack, back of the line, and he's really worked himself. That's what I've been the most proud of, is watching his work ethic and seeing him be dedicated to put on the pounds. 140
perception
pounds
is exactly what you said.
Mm-hmm.
But the flip is true, too. People don't know what it's like to be the coach's kid.
I had that conversation with a dad the other day. Dad and I were talking about something, and he said, well, your son, and I said, well, actually, my son doesn't come and tell me anything that happens on the team. My kid just wants to be a part of the team. He doesn't want the perception that he's a snitch or you can't do anything in front of EJ. He's just going to run and tell his dad. And, you know, I said he just wants to be a normal kid. He doesn't want the pressure of that's the coach's son, this, that, and the third. And he doesn't want everybody thinking the only reason he gets to play is because he's the coach's kid and this, that. So, you know, there's a lot of pressure and from the teammates that he plays with, to, you know, the parents in the stands, and, you know, so a lot of pressure comes with that.
And people don't understand that.
No, they don't.
Yeah, and I was you know, my philosophy is either be a superstar or suck, you know what I mean, if you're going to be a coach's kid, because I was a middle-of-the-road guy, too, like a baseball player, and my dad was the coach, so that made it tough because I'm fighting for a position, and, you know, you're just trying to be fair, you know what I mean, so that's my philosophy. Be a superstar or just be terrible. You know what I mean? So anyway, what a thrill, though, for your wife, I'm sure. Everything. Yeah. Yes. Wear the dawn.
She's a sports mom, man. She does it well. She has her hats and her shirts.
She does it very well.
All of her kids have been athletes. She was an athlete. She was a 56 quarter runner back in high school. She could run. And so
that's flying.
She loves sports. She loves coming and supporting her kids.
Well, Eric, we appreciate you coming in, but I had one more. Jimmy and I have talked about this a lot on the show about NIL money. Okay, you know, obviously it's a part of the fabric now of college football specifically and college basketball. Is it going to enter high schools? What's your thought? You've been in the mecca of it with Duncanville and all that. You know, where the recruiting goes on behind the scenes, fair or not, where people are trying to steal you guys' best players, but. Do you think there'll be a time when NIL is part of high school athletics?
I don't think so. I hope not. I know there's the amateur status that our kids still hold. I think that the UIL and the Texas High School Coaches Association is going to try to steer us clear of that type of that type of incentive. We don't have it as much here in the Amarillo, greater Amarillo area, but, in the Metroplex where there are always recruiting violations and always talks of, trying to make super teams. When you throw those NIL deals in, you take a South Lake, which is a very wealthy area, and now if they can pay kids, then that changes the game completely. Because you always hear stories of, certain parents get jobs at certain places or certain houses get rented for. But now when that stuff can be legally done, and you really just change athletics. It's almost private school now. when you can pay certain kids, certain people, you will have the haves and the have-nots. Certain teams will have the money to be able to entice people to come play for them, and certain schools won't. So there's already economical disadvantages across districts and across the state as it is. I think that's what's so amazing about my guy, Coach Todd at South Oak Cliff. He continues to win despite the socioeconomical issues that people would look at and say it's an inner city Dallas school. But when you start comprising financial gain to amateur parents, then I think you start messing with the fabric of what high school. We've already done it to college.
Right.
The fabric of it has already changed. You could see it a lot last year. Everybody says, well, Tech bought their way to the playoffs, and people, when money gets involved, it changes everything. So
it really does.
I hope it doesn't.
Yeah,
I
I'm
hope
with
they
you.
just keep it for the love of the game and for your community. We talked about community. Just go play for your community, play for your team, play for your coach, play with your friends, and then let the next level start to get, where the money and those different decisions start coming in.
Well, and we see it in youth sports, and I tell parents all the time, and this, that funnel gets real small the older they get. There's only so many that are going to make it to college to play that sport, whatever sport it is. And so you better take advantage of what you have now, because I don't know how many kids you got on the roster, but 95% of them aren't going to play at the next level.
Nope.
They're not going to. And that's when parents get disappointed. And so expectations have to be put in perspective. My dad was really good at that, putting that with kids is, You better have a plan B, because none of y'all are going to be playing professional football for the rest of your lives. And to be quite frank, he would tell them, most of you, if not all of you, will never play a down of college ball or professional ball. And so it's perspectives, and that's why I'm old school, and I'm a little bit cheesy in that way, but the community part of it to me is more important, because look what they brought back to town, and look what you and Ziggy and others are doing out there for those kids, Eric. I mean, let's just be honest. Look what you're doing for those kids. And, golly, getting them up at 5:30 in the morning, that's a decision that they have to make. Do I want to be a part of that or not?
Yes, sir.
That's tough.
I'm with Eric. Hopefully there'll be that line between high school and college.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
With that NL. I really like what you said, yeah.
I'm going to ask you this question. I watched a lot of the NFL flag championships over the weekend. 23 states have it in the high schools now. You see that coming?
I see it coming for our girls.
Me too.
I think in the next 5 years, Texas will have girls flag football and boys volleyball.
I agree.
My daughter played club volleyball, and when you go to the various tournaments, they have the boys divisions. And we've had boys ask about being able to play volleyball at the high school level, and right now Texas doesn't have it. I think if you add football for girls, then you have to add the volleyball.
Interesting.
I watched a lot of it this weekend, and my favorite two games, there's a bunch from California, they were wearing the Seahawks jerseys, watched their semifinal game, and then they played the Texas team that was the defending champs. They beat them.
Austin, yeah.
They had to have basically your playoff off the if you start at the 5-yard line, it's a 1-point extra point. If you go from 10, it's 2. Mm-hmm. Texas scored their 1. They're up 1. Seattle's got to score. They go for 2 and win it. And it was impressive to watch. they were talking about how two of those girls that were playing each other are both committed to Nebraska to go play college flag football. It's going to be in the Olympics.
Yep.
I agree with you. Girls flag football within 5 years. I'm right there with you.
What season would that come, do you think, Eric? Is that I mean,
I don't know.
I'm with you. Girls flag football is coming. I didn't know about boys volleyball. That's interesting. And I've known a couple of guys, believe it or not, who moved here from California, families that were going to like appeal to, like, and the kid didn't want to play on the girls team, you know what I mean? But that's what they were going to have to do, like the Title IX reverse it, you know what I mean? But anyway, what season would you guess that would come in? Wouldn't that be a tough one?
Yeah, that would, because, if you do it during football season, now that's girls volleyball.
Volleyball's
season.
in the way, yeah.
And winter's basketball and soccer, and so
then you go straight to track.
Go straight into track and softball.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I just know it's coming.
Yeah. Interesting.
Maybe it's a spring sport with track, because a lot of the element of speed, and endurance.
And I understand it'll be like a 6-week season. They'll try to, but I mean, I'm all for it personally.
I think it'll be really
it'll be
cool.
huge.
We did a girls flag football game. My daughter wanted to be a football player, and her dad wouldn't let her play football. And I used to always tell her, if you'd have been Eric Jr., you could have been our quarterback, but you're Aaron, not Eric.
Yeah.
So our girls loved it when we offered our flag football game, and I mean, you can just see the athleticism. You can see the hand-eye coordination, the speed. Not a physical, brutal game like the boys play, but
I think it's
fast-paced too.
I think it'll explode.
Well, you
in the
see
state
the
of
jerseys
Texas.
right there on the shelves.
Yeah.
And we had our first spring season with the NFL program with Dalton and joining our program, and we had girls teams, and we really want to push that even more.
My youngest daughter wants to play.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nice.
Right now in the system, I just pulled it up. We got 182 flag teams for fall right now. Now that number will combine into some of them going together, but we got a bunch of kids ready to play flag football, and there's girls in the mix. I agree with you. 5 years.
Yeah.
Or less.
You got anything else?
Nope. I think he's the only, other than Kale,
Is our only double.
our only repeat guest. So
Yeah.
thanks for coming back.
We do appreciate your insights, though,
appreciate
because
y'all.
they're so interesting. We're kind of outside looking in, but to get some insight, and I love what you told us about simply the philosophy behind practicing in the morning. It wasn't just like, hey, we're just going to practice in the morning. There's a thought behind it and all that. So, but I did see a fresh Dons team. I will say that when you mention it, you weren't lacking for that at all. Getting burnt out, I didn't think last year at all. Did you?
Sir. I didn't think so. I thought we were fresh and ready to compete. So
Yeah.
we're excited to start Monday morning at.
And he's
report
not
at
messing around.
5:45.
Eric's not messing around with the schedule this year. Amarillo High, Cap Rock, Tascosa, and then your Dumas Demons. They're up with the Pitchforks in week 4. So that's a really, really good. And then it's on to district. A couple of road games in Wichita Falls we talked about, but you guys can handle that. So.
Good luck, Coach.
Yeah,
It's a
Eric, we
great
can't
season.
thank you enough.
Thank
Love
you,
the
thank
insight for everything, and congrats on last year. I know you're moving on, but then what a special, time for you and your family to have a senior son,
Yes, sir.
playing for the Dons. So, but
Get
I'm
my
with Eric.
tissue ready. My wife will be balling, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with Eric though. Let's get an afternoon game in Dick Pivens Stadium.
That'd be
I'll come up
amazing.
with a sponsor.
That'd be amazing.
We'll offer the team a little bit of, hey, we'll pay for your travel here or whatever, and let's make it work. Because I'm with Eric. Those afternoon games, Saturday, that was football.
Yes,
so,
it
yeah.
was.
Hey, anything else, Jimmy?
No, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate Eric coming in. Hey, just a reminder, we are the production of the Kids Inc. Sports Network, and we are the Fieldhouse Podcast. And like I like to always say, we'll see you when we see you.